first time I went to the COPs was in 2009 when it was in Copenhagen. It was also the first time I met the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, with whom we've been in relationship ever since, and who we've grounded a lot of our work around the COPs since then. And when I went there, I was coming off of this Women of Color for Climate Justice road tour, and I incorporated going to COP into that, where I was doing a vlog, basically doing the video interviews of women, and then doing a blog associated with that to really lift up and connect the stories of women of color as it relates to climate justice across the United States, and then really connecting that with women of color in the various nations that were attending COP. And so really at that point, recognizing the need to start to weave these stories together. I had been months into my first year at the NAACP, and wanted to, and I was coming off of having been a Peace Corps volunteer and doing international work, and wanted to really build that global solidarity between communities and BIPOC communities in the U.S. That was really my focus there. And so, but at the same time, I started to kind of learn about this event. I mean, at that point, it was kind of a platform for this media and connections work that I was doing. And then I started to kind of obviously learn about what was actually happening within the negotiations. And when I first encountered the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, it was when they were marching through the halls doing a kind of an intervention within, and they were chanting 2 degrees is suicide. And I remember thinking to myself that I was not surprised, but I was struck that they were saying suicide when I was thinking genocide. Because, and I was thinking that from their frame, where they're coming from as the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, that they would take it in a much more of a racial justice lens, but they actually don't really have that much of a racial justice frame at that time, for sure. And but I came up to them afterwards, and we started to build a relationship together. They came to the United States subsequently, and we started to introduce them to some of the communities and others within CJA, Climate Justice Alliance, and others were helping to introduce them to communities. We did a film screening with them where it was a film about the Horn of Africa and the drought and so forth, and we did it along with the film of If God is Willing and the Creek Don't Rise, really helping, which is about Katrina, and really helping to start to build those connections and that understanding. And they really admitted that they had no idea about the plight of Black folks in the United States, and they really had seen the United States as this kind of monolith in terms of wealth and power, and it was a real education for them to really see the connections between what their experiences were in sub-Saharan Africa and what our experiences are in the United States. So certainly recognizing still the relative privilege and wealth and so forth, but also really seeing common cause.